Yo guys, welcome to Rendra. My name is Vieku, and today I'm going to be talking about writing scripts with AI. Now, you might have noticed that there's been a lot of plugins and scripts released recently. A bunch of them were made with AI, and here's the thing. A lot of the 3D artists are, creating their own scripts with AI, but there is an even larger chunk of 3D artists who are not. And one of the main reasons why they are not doing it is because they think that you need to know how to code, to do that. Well, the reality is you need to know how to describe things and write. That's pretty much it. So I just want to kind of make this little introduction video on how you can start with vibe coding, so you can, kind of help out with your workflow, make things faster, etc. So it's pretty much this. So I'm going to be using Claude for this, and I have this bowl here, and in this bowl I have a lot of these, you see, teapots, boxes, toruses, etc. And I'm actually going to drop them all into the bowl just so that they are kind of, a mess. So I'm also demonstrating a plugin that I made with AI, and it's called the Dropper, and this is pretty much what it does without any preparation or anything, without setups. You just press a hotkey and the whole thing just starts falling. It's super practical, and you can like fill stuff like this, etc. Now, here's the catch. Here you have a bunch of teapots, boxes, cylinders, toruses, etc. And all of them are actually layered, and they are in the, you see, like I have boxes layer, cylinders layer, teapots layer, toruses layer. And now, let's say I want to select a few of these objects, but I also want to have an option that when I select them, that their own entire layers also get selected. Because in Max, when I, for example, select a teapot and when I select a cylinder, if I understand correctly, there is no button in Max which you can press that all of their layers automatically get selected, like all the teapots and all cylinders. Okay, so this is how easy it is generally to write scripts for that. Write me a 3dsmax script where when I select a few objects, and if I click the script button, and if those objects are a part of some layer, I want all the objects in those layers to be selected. Now, before I press start or before I, do the go, like when you go to customize user interface, you have your toolbars, and here you got the list of all these categories, right? So for example, here I have my RenderM scripts, etc. So that thing is called category. So what you can say is place that script into yo guys category and send the message. And as you can see, the whole script is practically written live. Also, you can download it immediately. So if you click on the download button, you get the MS script. So it's called Yo Guys Select Layer Objects. So as you can see in my downloads, this is the script. So how do you go about it? You just drop it onto your viewport. And now you go into customize user interface. On the toolbars, you search for a Yo Guys category. And here it is, Yo Guys. And this is the script. So you generally drop it in here, and that's basically it. So how does it work? I have, these two objects selected, and now when I click the script, you can see that only the objects from that kind of layer list get selected. And this is how easy it is to start, messing with vibe coding. Now, if, for example, you get the code, you test it out, and it doesn't work, it tosses some error, well, this is how you deal with the errors. So in Max, if you go to scripting, you have script listener. A shortcut is F11. You click that, and here you're going to see this error message in this red text. So I'm just going to force that, and this is the script, and I'll just on purpose just delete a couple of things, just for fun. So now if I drop the script in, and if I want to run it, it's still this one. So I'm just going to click this shortcut. You're going to see there's an error, right? And now when I go to scripting listener, this is the error. So what do? You just select this whole error. You go to your Claude chat or whichever AI you're using. You just paste the error there, and Claude will pretty much, write the new script like with the updates, and you can test it again. And that's pretty much how it works. Now, when I started generally with the whole vibe coding thing, my first instinct was, oh my God, what script should I write? And then I was trying to think, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I do that? And I realized that I didn't really have much ideas until I started working. So that's kind of a thing that I recommend for you guys. Like, just start working your thing. And whenever you get to some part of work that's a total pain in the ass for you, describe the whole entire process to, whichever AI you're using, describe it and see which parts can be automated. For example, at my work, we do a lot of we have to drop into the scene a lot of these props, which are all zips and RARs, etc. And then you have to, extract them, separate the textures. You need to find the correct max version if it has, multiple max versions. Then you need to, import the max file into max, and then you have to link all the textures. And then if you have 10 of these zips and RARs, you pretty much have to, do that 10 times. So what I did, I generally, I described in Claude my whole entire process of what I'm doing because I did not know what can be automized. So I described the whole entire thing, and I said like which parts can be automized. So this is what I got in an asset importer. So how does it work? You select, let's say a couple of these RARs that you get, or zips, doesn't matter. I searched for RAR, so it just, showed those. Look at this. You drag it into the asset importer. You define where you want your textures to be. You choose if you want a Corona or V-Ray or F-Storm, and you just click Batch Import Selected. And once that's done, it's just going to say batch complete. And look, I got all 4 items imported with linked textures and everything. So whenever I would get these projects of like these 10 props or something, it would take me a good 20 minutes, just trying to sort them out, figure out what goes where, relink all the textures, etc., etc. This is 15 seconds. So yeah, that's kind of it. And now the other thing, for example, I would be importing a lot of these kind of 3D Sky objects and all that. And you know how in Corona Render, you can plug in displacement into the material while you don't have to have the Corona displacement material modifier. So you can just plug it in, right? And so what would happen, I would import a lot of these objects, and like my scene would just get, super slow or something because somebody cranked up some displacement somewhere and I didn't know where it is. So what I did, I, for example, made this tool, which is called RenderM Mod Search. So this is pretty much a modifier searcher. And now if I type, let's say, displacement, get this, DIS, you can immediately see. So what's happening? This one and this one, look, it automatically selects them. They have the displacement modifier. So this is like a modifier searcher, right? But this one, it has only the material displacement. So like just a displacement in the material. If I, let's say, type UV UCW or UV whatever, script is showing all the objects that have UV something in them. So you see it's a UVW map, UVW map. If you type, I don't know, FFD or whatever, just FF, this is it. So it's like super practical. Like all these things, like I said, like start working, and as you start working, just try to figure out what part of your work can be kind of sped up. And it's super easy to make these scripts. So yeah, I highly encourage you because like this has given me a tremendous speed boost and it's super accessible and super easy. Of course, when it comes to creating like super heavy stuff, I would personally leave that to the professionals. But yeah, for simple stuff like this, I highly encourage you to do that. By the way, I have a lot of the scripts and plugins that I did on my Patreon. You can go and check them out there. Even the one in the beginning that I showed, the one-click automatic physics kind of thing, that's also available on my Patreon. You can get it if you're a Mesh Inspector tier, etc. But there is also some news. So there is this new website that also emerged. It's from Sinai Lab. So I don't know, a lot of you probably know about Sinai software, the dudes that create Sinai plugins. So they released this SinaiLab.ai, and this is pretty much a web shop where you can sell your vibe-coded stuff or give it for free. So you can just check it out and see what's uploaded. It's brand new, so there's not a lot of things there yet. But yeah, it's good to check this from time to time. So yeah, I just wanted to generally create this kind of video just to show that, these things are super accessible now and you can actually help yourself a lot by doing that. Because I would get a lot of these comments, like, oh, but I don't know how to code. I don't know how to do this. You just need to know how to talk and write. That's how simple it is. So yeah. Happy vibe coding. I hope you create something that's going to help you out in your work. And as usual, see you in the next video. Bye.